So just to start off, to be clear here, this is a Puna Geothermal. This is a private meeting. Everyone's invited. And our process is that we're going to provide an overview. And once that is done, we'll break out into different groups. It'll be Hawaii County. We have a sign up on the wall there. And we have Hawaii Electric Light Company here by Holland. And then, of course, PGV here. So we'll be able to talk about PGV operations, and then also we'll be able to talk about access back into the Kipuka area. If anyone disrupts this meeting, you will be politely asked to leave. And we do appreciate everyone coming out.
It began in early May 2018. Kilauea, active since 1983, began a month-long eruption on the lower East Rift Zone, which went on to produce 1 billion cubic yards of lava. Lava that transformed the landscape, covered roads, and inundated some 700 homes. In the wake of the eruption, Puna Geothermal Venture found itself entirely surrounded by lava. While the facility was largely spared, wells and transmission lines were compromised and our facility was inaccessible. When it was fully operational, Puna Geothermal Venture provided 31% of the island's energy. Without geothermal, there's been an increase in the need for fossil fuels and an increase in energy costs for both residents and businesses on the island. But the future is looking bright. We have already begun to forge a new path to get us back to where we were. Working closely with our oversight partners, we have designed, engineered, and begun clearing a new path to our facility. And with the help of the Kapoho Land Development Company, we are also in the process of creating access for our neighbors who have homes to the east of our facility. This is a project that all of us at Puna Geothermal Venture are proud to be able to fund and execute in support of our nearby community. Final details are wrapping up, and we look forward to welcoming these residents home very soon. And our community members that have stood by us during this unprecedented event, we can't thank you enough for your support. As we look to the future, Hawaii has mandated that 100% of the state's energy must be renewable by the year 2045. At Puna Geothermal Venture, we look forward to being a positive community partner and doing our part in making this goal a reality through safe, clean, dispatchable, renewable geothermal energy. Mahalo from Puna Geothermal Venture.
Thank you. So next up is our plant manager, Jordan Hara.
Basically, the update we have is we completed our access road to the plant, so that is complete. We also have completed an access road to the subdivision for the landlocked neighbors there. We are continuing to evaluate equipment on site, due to the SO2 conditions and acid rain. There's a lot of stuff that we got to do in the plant, repair things, fix things, change out things. We also have completed our first water well. So one of the things we had to do first was drill a fresh water well. So we have completed that. We're in the process of testing that out right now. We are also in the process of excavating our substation, digging out all the lava around it so we can work towards replacement of that, working with Helco on that one. We're also looking at bringing in future power to the plant so we can have a parasitic load so we can supply power to ourselves. We're also working with Helco on that. And the main thing is, at the end of this, is we're going to also talk mainly about the waivers for the subdivision at the end. And that'll be at our area here and get in depth on that and also pass out the waivers. But that's a basic overview of what's going on really right now in the plant. A lot of work going on, a lot of contractors on site, giving us a hand from all over the United States and locally. I appreciate you guys for coming out.
Thanks, Jordan. Next up, I'd like to ask Lono Lyman to share some of his mana'o.
So I'll claim to be one of the dinosaurs here. When 2045 comes, I'll be 98, and I'll strive to be there for 100%. First, I'd like to thank the county, state, federal workers who kept everyone safe and got us through this. And the volunteers for the various organizations, too, who complemented what was being done. My own thought is that disasters bring out the best in people. And I certainly saw this with respect to our helping neighbors and neighbors helping our farmers. We had farmers, well, first we opened Cinder Road, which we kept closed after the sale for reasons related to Cinderland. But we opened it right away, and it became the way in, and still is the way in, for people who live on railroad. And our papaya farmers wanted to expand during the eruption, and I couldn't understand it. But the price of papaya doubled. So we let them do it at their own risk and told them we'd figure out things this year, which we have yet to do. Others lost everything, and others lost proportionally more. My family lost 1,265 acres covered by lava, but we still have land left that is suitable for agriculture. And our farmers want to go back, and we want to get our neighbors back. I found out in talking with some neighbors that they weren't aware that PGV kept their employees on their payroll with a commitment for doing that for a year. And they asked only that they volunteer in the community, which they did. So it's time to move forward. It's time to work together. It's time to set aside differences, because we've gone through a horrendous transformative eruption, and now we have to move forward with reopening Highway 132 to what is a small bread basket. I had unsolicited information from a neighbor who told me that they had 4 to 5 acres of citrus that they were getting $40,000 to $50,000 a year from. So that's the order of magnitude of why ag has to reopen. I also offered to one of our farmers land up by the Y, and he said it's too wet. And just a couple hundred feet lower in elevation is more suitable for papaya. And by the way, the lands that someone wants to open for papaya near the airport isn't suitable at all. So, malama ke kanaka o kapoho I mua Puna.
Thank you, Lono. Okay, next up is one of our other partners, Hawaii Electric Light Company, representing Hawaii Electric Light, Kevin Walchin.
So from Hawaii Electric Light, things that we wanted to talk about was we still have a contract with PGV. So we're honoring that contract. With that, we get 2 main tasks Mike had mentioned. One is rebuilding the switching station, and 2 is connecting that switching station with the transmission lines that got overrun that Mike had talked about. If you look at this picture, you can see the top picture is where the switching station had got inundated. That part needs to be cleared for us to put it back together. And that area was located where that circle, the red circle on the lower picture shows. This picture is where it crossed 137. That inundated and covered the transmission lines there. So we need to put that back to connect them back up to the switching stations.
Thank you, Kevin. So we're gonna focus now on access to the kipuka. And what I wanted to share is that we have forms that we've been working on. I want to first, we got to say thank you to landowner Lono Lyman. Thank you to the county, Department of Public Works for helping us out with the grading permits. So it took us a little bit of time, but we're making progress, we're moving ahead. And so today we have the forms completed. And we are fortunate that we were able to discuss the forms with some of the nearby residents that have agreed to volunteer to be like the point of contact. So if anyone out here in the audience today is interested in returning into their area of residence in the Kipuka, we will be here after this presentation to go over all of that in detail. And we have maps up here, the same map that you see on the screen. So essentially, you'll need to be able to identify yourself. We will need to confirm that you do indeed have a residence. So we'll check it with tax map keys. We'll be working with Mr. Lyman because he's also involved because there's a lot of their property in there. And we're gonna keep this initial access to residents and immediate family. And the folks that have agreed to help us from the neighborhood, they're going to be reaching out to folks that are interested to go in. We'll all be up here afterwards. And it's, maybe I can mention who they are. It's, could you please stand? So Michael and Ann Gornick, and Mark and Oshi. So they will be in this area afterwards to talk about access. And we're really looking forward to it. It's been a long time coming, and we just feel so happy that we can help out. So identification, like license, car insurance, immediate, family members. We're going to run this through for some period of time, see how that works. And once we get a better understanding and feel for it, we may open up, to others besides just immediate family. And most importantly, we'll be here to answer all the detailed questions. So please come up after we're done with our overall presentations. So next, for presentations, I'd like to ask the Director of Research and Development, Ms. Diane Lay.
We have a lot of information to share. I just want to say that, recovery, it really is more than just about roads. It's a long-term, 5 to 10-year process that's going to bring our communities together. It's going to bring our communities together with government, and it's going to allow us an opportunity to really dream, dream about what we want for the future. Because our community has changed, the landscape has changed, and it's going to be different, So let's all work on this together. The magnitude of the impacts, it's estimated at $800 million. We have not seen that magnitude of disaster. This county has not recovered from that level of disaster in the past. So while we know we know what the hazards are, this still requires us to do some data-based analysis of and have an understanding of what we are making decisions about going forward. And some of those really tough, big questions we all need to ask ourselves is, do I want to go back? And you may say yes, or you may say no. And so, should my family reinvest here? That is a question. Or will buyouts be available as an option for those who don't want to? Should taxpayer dollars go back into the community? Should say the community parts of it not be restored? Or should it be a partial restoration? Should we look at a cultural park with mixed uses? So there may be opportunities for fisheries, for farming, for small business, for some residents. And then maybe there's recreation, and maybe there's just wild spaces to accommodate future eruptive activity. So those are big questions that we as a community and we as government have to work together towards, okay? And I know that, so I'm going to get back into some of the more concrete details now. So one of the things I know folks are interested is where's the county on Highway 132? And So I'm going to share with you some of that information, and I also want to acknowledge, Lono Lyman and PGV for working together to quickly provide access to the Kipuka. Thanks, you guys. Both temporary and for the county, we have to go through the process, okay? So both temporary and permanent routes are being evaluated for Highway 132. We're using guidance from both FEMA as well as federal highways and state regulatory agencies to ensure that we meet all of the necessary permitting and reimbursement requirements. So Department of Public Works, and we've got David Yamamoto and Alan Simeon here tonight to assist with questions later on if you have detailed questions about the process. But they're working to complete the temporary road construction before October 5th to qualify for 100% reimbursement from the federal highways. And that would be a temporary road, okay? So similar to what is down at Highway 137 between Opikau and Pohoiki. So work in progress to date, as of March 15th, I should say, Public Works has prepared construction permits, surveys, designs, and cost estimates. They're aligning the timeframes and requirements with what both FEMA and federal highways is requiring. You may have, if you're an adjoining property owner, you may have received a letter indicating that road construction could impact the edges of your property. So, we've posted this on a website, the county's recovery website, Kilauea Recovery. But I'll give you quickly the estimated schedule, and this is subject to change. But from June to July of this year, we'll be, Public Works will be completing a photo geometry survey of the lava inundated roads. And this summer, consultants will complete an alternative study comparing recommended permanent alternatives for Highway 132. This is required by the federal NEPA process. And then from August to September, it's expected that permitting requirements for temporary road construction to include, but not limited to, the NPDES permit, the NEPA permit, and the category exclusion, as well as the SMA permits. And they'll also have to do a grading permit, okay? And that'll be reviewed by engineers at Public Works as well as Historic Preservation Division. And if you want to know what any of those acronyms mean, you can talk to the fellows in the back later, and they'll give you more detail. And then in September and August and September, they'll complete the design road for construction, and September to October, construction of the temporary road would be completed, contingent upon meeting all of the permit requirements, okay? So I know you all want the road done today, but there are requirements. We are no longer under the governor's emergency proclamation because we don't have an emergency, so we have to go through these permitting processes, okay? So, and then I know there's folks in here that are interested in Pohoiki Road. When is that going to open? And 137. So survey work is in progress for both of those roads, and Pohoiki is up next, okay, on the priority list. So we'll keep moving along on that. Now, if you have a property that you just need to cut a driveway and you want to rebuild, if you are clearing more than 1 acre, you'll need a grubbing and grading permit as well as an NPDES permit. If you're going to want to build a structure on your property, if the structure meets all codes and there's vehicular access to that property, go visit with Public Works and planning for that process. Permits can be issued.
Thank you, Diane. So next steps is we're going to break up into our different locations. But before that, a couple of things I wanted to say. Thanks to Civil Defense Talmadge and his group. They helped us do this map Thanks to USGS, Saltina and Neil and their team up there. Thank you for helping out. Thanks to Kimo Lee back there for helping out. And so please sign in on a sign-in sheet, because as part of our work at PGV, we're planning to have regular meetings. And so if you want to be participating in future meetings, please come by. Make sure you sign up. Jordan's going to talk a little bit about the map. So after this, we're going to break up and.
Yeah, so real quick, guys, I just wanted to explain so that maybe answer some quick questions before we break. The blue line in here, you'll see these are roads that we created. So as you come in from the security checkpoint is where it would swing around. And when you come up over here, you'll be able to see it a little bit better. But basically the left side, well, your guys' right side, is where it goes over the lava into the pasture area, into the top of the subdivision. That's also where Lono gave up 6 more acres too of property to try to make this happen too. Thank you, even added to the loss, but he was gracious enough to do that, so we were able to connect to there and go to the top. So that connection would be right in here. That's the top of the subdivision, and this is the kind of an old papaya farm road, and then this is the part that we had to bulldoze. So when we break for this, just want to be clear that everybody is here to try to help everybody out. So we're going to conduct ourselves respectfully. When we break, you got a question, raise your hand, and we'll just go one by one. We got here till 6 o'clock is what we're locked in for, right? So we're going to be respectful, and we'll just take turns, and we'll go one by one and try to get as much questions answered as quickly as we can when we break up into groups. Thank you.
Thanks, everybody. Anyone interested in access, we have the forms up here. Helco will be here and Hawaii County there.
So it's going to be based off, if we got 20 people, it'd be pretty quick. If we got hundreds of people, I got to balance that a little bit more, I just, ask for your guys' patience. We're trying to do our best to help all you guys out. We're a private entity that have no obligations, but we feel for you and we want to help you out as much as possible, because I wish, if I was in your situation, I would want to go back to my home, definitely. So we understand that. A couple of things, when we do open it up to everyone, if I only have one security guard as an example, we come in early in the morning, 6:30 to 8:30 is when all our guys coming in. If you're in line, my guys got to get priority to get into work. So, we'll set it up like that where, you guys got to be patient with us. As soon as my guys are in, then, we can start, checking in residents and whatnot. So there's going to be patience on that. We did set up the road where it's almost a double lane with a rope going down the middle. And what we're going to do is angle that rope straight to your guys' subdivision. So you cannot get lost and go inside the plant unless you run over a rope. So, you'll be able to drive in, stay in there. It'll guide you right smack into your subdivision. So that's another thing. We have a speed limit of 10 miles per hour. Just with us using our own road, we're eating it up already and having to do maintenance in a short time, from December. I just answered that. No, I'm just playing.
5 mile marker.
At where?
My daughter's place is right at the 5 mile marker.
She'll be able to get there.
How soon after we turn the service?
Well,
no, so if
it's a week or two away, it depends on the factors.
So everybody will be able to access. As long as you're in that, I don't know who is, but whoever's in that landlocked area, once we allow full access, as long as you fill out a waiver and you're all good legal, you'll be able to go in whenever we dictate, hey, today we open it up to everyone.
Excellent.
Yes, sir.
We only have access daytime, so when you guys close operations in the evening.
No. So here's the thing too is, dependent how much people we get, we're going to try to say, hey, it was talked about with Mark and Mike in the beginning, we may have to just say, hey, Monday, Wednesday, Friday or something at these times, just to get the ball rolling, to get you guys in, at least home. See how things go. from there, if things are smooth, progressively get more, progressively go 24/7 is the goal, of course. But in the beginning, let's just get you guys in, at least to be able to get to your house and start taking care of some things.
So will we be able, a number to call to say, oh, you're open today? Or?
No, we'll set a schedule. Before we roll this out, we'll set a schedule working with Mark, Mike. You guys can give your guys' opinions to them. If you guys have ideas or whatnot, in the end, we gotta pick something. And I know not everybody's gonna be happy, but please be patient. And this is just a first step to get you guys in. Our goal is, of course, 24/7. Once we get that running smooth, of course, I understand you guys want contractors or other people to come in and to be able to rebuild and whatnot. I understand that, but let's get the first step first. Get you guys in on a consistent basis. Everybody working together. At that point, then we can say, hey, let's open up the system to get, individual contractors, making sure that we're not just getting any yahoos in there. And, my biggest concern is tourists coming in, or guys trying to run tours in there, or we get people that are not supposed to be, because, we got already somebody that was escorted today, that was looting and squatting, Oh, see, this guy knows already. So already get action in there. And a concern too is that we've had people steal from us that hiked in after the lava flow. They went to our other houses, our neighbors. We helped bring police for them. The guys went house to house. So also there is an idea that potentially some of these guys stored some of this stuff up and waiting for access to drive in to get it all. So, that's another thing you guys got to be concerned about. We want you guys to be safe in there. There's not easy access. So, let's make sure it's all neighborhood watch action, take care of each other.